The most likely answer is not that people loved the dark. The archaeological evidence points to refuge. Underground living in Cappadocia was a survival system. Soft volcanic rock made carving possible, and danger on the surface made hiding useful. That answer matters because building underground is irrational unless the surface has become more dangerous. You lose daylight. Air becomes engineering. Water becomes a security problem. Every doorway has to think like a wound. In Cappadocia, the rock is the first clue. The landscape is made from volcanic tuff, soft enough to carve, strong enough to hold chambers, tunnels, stairs, wells, stables, cellars, churches, and storage rooms. The city that makes this question impossible to ignore is DERINKUYU, in Nevşehir province, Turkey. Official Turkish museum material describes an underground city about 85 meters deep, with spaces for a large community and the needs of daily life. This is not a cave someone slept in for one bad night. DERINKUYU has stables, cellars, dining spaces, a church, a missionary school, wells, and ventilation. It is architecture for staying hidden long enough for danger to pass. The Turkish Ministry of Culture describes DERINKUYU as a defense and hiding site from the period when Christianity spread in the region, probably built in the 9th or 10th centuries. That does not mean every carved space began then. It means the known refuge system was heavily tied to danger in faith. That phrase, hiding site, is the key. The city is not designed to impress an enemy. It is designed to vanish from one. Narrow passages slow movement. Wells keep water inside. Ventilation shafts hide the fact that people are breathing below. The doors tell the same story. Cappadocian underground cities used large rolling stone doors that could be shut from inside. A normal door says welcome or stay out. A stone disc inside a tunnel says, if they find the entrance, make the tunnel itself fight back. This is why the question is bigger than DERINKUYU. A house protects a family from weather. A wall protects a town from attack. But an underground city protects a whole community from being seen at all. A 2016 engineering study calls DERINKUYU a historical underground city built for up to 20,000 people and ties its construction to the extraction and carving of tough rock. Even if capacity estimates vary, the concept is clear: this was collective survival at urban scale. Think about what that means. If even a fraction of that population went below, people had to organize food, animals, sleeping spaces, fire, air, water, waste, sound, movement, and panic. Underground survival is not hiding in a room. It is running a city with the sky removed. The fear was probably not one event. Cappadocia sat in a crossroads zone. Empires, raids, religious conflict, and local violence could all turn ordinary villages into targets. A refuge does not need one apocalypse. It needs repeated uncertainty. By the Byzantine period, this logic becomes easier to see. Christian communities in Cappadocia used underground spaces as places of refuge. Churches and religious rooms inside the underground system make sense when faith itself could make a group visible and vulnerable. But the deeper psychological point is older than any one religion. Humans go underground when the surface no longer feels like home. The ground becomes a second skin. The city becomes a body curled inward around its most vulnerable parts. Every underground system has the same trade. Safety increases, but freedom shrinks. You can survive an attack, but you surrender sunlight. You protect water, but you live near the sound of your own breathing. You avoid the enemy, but you also avoid the world. That is why underground cities are not just engineering. They are emotional maps. A ventilation shaft is fear translated into air. A hidden well is fear translated into water. A stone door is fear translated into weight. And because the system worked, it could be reused. The first builders may not have imagined every future threat. Later, communities could expand, repair, repurpose, and inherit the same underground logic. A refuge built for one danger becomes insurance against the next. This is the difference between a hiding place and a culture of hiding. A hiding place is temporary. A culture of hiding teaches children where to run, which tunnel to take, when to close the door, how to keep quiet, and how to wait. The most haunting part is that the city has almost no voice of its own. We can measure depths, list rooms, photograph doors, and cite official descriptions. But we cannot hear the moment when people above ground decided it was time to disappear below. So the best explanation is layered. Geology made the underground possible. Conflict made it useful. Religion made it urgent for some communities. Repetition made it normal. And fear made the architecture deep. That is why the title question still lands. Why did humans live underground for generations? Because sometimes survival is not about conquering the surface. Sometimes survival is about knowing when to vanish from it. DERINKUYU is not a fantasy city. It is a practical answer to a terrifying social problem. How does a community stay alive when being visible becomes dangerous? The answer was air shafts, wells, food rooms, stone doors, and a second city under the first one. And if we find that strange, maybe that is because we live in a time that confuses safety with openness. DERINKUYU remembers another rule: when history becomes violent enough, the smartest building is not the tallest. It is the one nobody can see.